And we are live. The episode we've all been waiting for. The episode that will define majority of this anime moving forward. Season 7, episode 19. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, Brent here back with Geek Variants. Cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, My Hero Academia, and we are about to reach peak My Hero Academia. If you are asking my humble opinion, because look, this anime is about to absolutely take off because everything, at least from the beginning of this show, has been leading up till this point. We have been looking for the Dobby battle overall with his father Endeavor since we learned about Dobby's true parentage at least a season or more ago. We have been waiting for that showdown for a while. Ever since Endeavor was introduced with Shoto, you knew this dude was bad news. You knew he was bad news, he was a bad individual, and he was going to take things too far. This episode, we're really going to drive that point home. As well, we have been talking about All Might and All for One for since the anime started. That has been the be all, end all, the beginning, the end, the alpha and omega of this show. The crux of our whole duality of this series is we were introduced as All Might as our shining beacon, our hero above heroes, the man who stood tall against All for One for decades. And now he's going to have to take on this battle quirkless, powerless, and basically with no gas left in the tank whatsoever. Because last we saw him, he was even attempting to transform to just even be of some service to Deku in some way, shape, or form, and he wasn't managing much. So for us to say, you know what, this is our guy, this is his moment, this is what he was born and destined to do, it's a bit much to ask. It's kind of a big ask here. All for One has not only used Ares' quirk to turn back the clock on himself, but now he's, enhanced himself because he just stole Hawks's quirk. He literally turned back the clock, made himself young, made himself even more powerful in his physical prime, and then adds yet another quirk while taking out a top 10 hero all in one show. He was under attack from four, maybe five heroes at the same time. Mount Lady, Todoroki, and a few more characters like Hawks and Endeavor were going at him. And, well, he just shrugged everything off. Even Shiketsu High came and was like, "We're in here. We're going to do this thing. We send our best young heroes and we're going to attack All for One together cumulatively 5v1. We're going to get this job done." Job's not done. He's out there on the loose, waiting to wreak his vile revenge for all for. I mean, All for One's just going to get his vile revenge on All Might. He is going out to complete the task in which he said he was been going to do for, I don't know, a long, long time now. Him and All Might have been needing to settle the score, get down to some type of conclusion, some kind of resolution for a minute. On top of that, after we finish all of this father son conversation, all of this, the one time hero, one time villain, best of the best battle, we now have those guys' proteges going out and duking it out in this episode. We have Shigaraki, we have Deku, we have 1A and 1A, the best of the best from each side going at it in this episode. If there's going to be an episode where this series fan base is made and or broken, episodes like this one are going to be our starting point. This is where we're overall going to see who or what each of these characters are made out of. And I am absolutely ecstatic, exhausted due to the time frame in which this episode drops, but ecstatic to see overall where we're going to take this anime. Is this going to go to even newer heights? Or, like most fans, because I really truly believe that My Hero fan base has gone rather quiet because season 7 is delivering. I don't see anybody talking about it online. I don't see people losing their proverbial minds the way they probably should. This anime is one of the big three, and I know the manga ending, which I will not discuss what happened, I think was a bit of a letdown, but at the same time, remember, it's not JJK's manga that ended, which, in my opinion, was much of a flop. My Hero, this episode is going to be the make or break on how fans are able to kind of interpret what's going to happen in the culmination of the manga, so to speak. There has been so much good stuff going on this season, whether it's just been character development, whether it's been the animation, whether it's been some of the fight sequences, whether it's the growth and just the overall showing of these new heroes and them setting the stage and them pushing themselves to be even better or even bigger or more prominent, because we've had characters shine this season that if you told me that they would be the breakout character of this show, I would have probably laughed at you. Because look, as much as we're all, huge fans of the big names, we're all fans of Shoto, we're all fans of Bakugo, we're all fans of Deku. Everyone after those three, you have to be pretty dang devoted to the anime to be like, you know what, that's my dude. Or be devoted to the manga and be like, that's my girl, that's my individual, that's the hero I want to root for. It's like, sure, we have Uravity. We have Tokoyami. We have these other individuals where there are some semblance of a fan base. If you're Team Mineta, I don't know what you're doing as part of this group, but we welcome all kinds. We hope you get the help you need, but we welcome all kinds. So to see some of these side characters, so to speak, these individuals that any other anime they would just be tossed off to the side. They would basically be like the Naruto equivalent of, Tenten. Like they're there, but they're not really participating greatly to what point we would care. Class 1A doesn't have those style of characters, period. Each character, since we've been introduced to them, has shined. The writing for this show is incredible. The manga was very, very nuanced and delivered on a lot of great things. Did it land as high as I was hoping it would when it finished? No, but it's a personal opinion and it has nothing to reflect on some other individuals who may have read it and may have been like, you know what? I love the way it ended. I'm hoping that the anime here with Bones is going to continue to deliver the way it has all season, because I think this may be the best season I've seen of this show. And I know a lot of people will talk about the sports arc where we kind of were introduced to Shoto. Deku really showed out his heart and everything he did. Bakugo showed that he's a great all around character, even though he trounced Uravity, and most people are, Team Uravity really, really early on. I think they've managed to shine and really show a lot of the cool stuff that they had going on. Because season 3, I think, was also the last. Yeah, season 3 was the last time where we really had everybody showing out, at least to this level. Season 4 involved Eri and all of her great story, which I thought was a fantastic arc. Season 5, we dealt with more of the League of Villains coming directly into our vantage point. We were introduced to Hawks and everything that was going on with Shoto and his family. Season 6 was just kind of the culmination of everything going on, where we were introduced to Tartars. We were introduced to how this war is truly going to play out. And it was dark, it was gritty, but it was very, very entertaining. Season 7 has delivered and brought every single piece that they've kind of been tiptoeing their way forward with us to a head, because we have Shoto finally fighting his father and well fighting his brother on behalf of his father. We had America finally make it to Japan to help out. Class 1A is just straight up balling out against the villains right now. And then we had this culmination with Bakugo's character arc where he shows he's willing to basically die for his beliefs and for helping Deku, which if you told me that happened at any point in time when I originally was only just watching the anime and not following anything else, I would have looked at you like you were crazy, because Bakugo, whatever his nickname was, it was Explosion Demon Lord or something, and he had something about ending human life, because Bakugo was just, he's a hero, but the way he goes about it is more Punisher-esque than like most characters have. And I am aware the episode is supposed to have dropped. The episode has not officially dropped yet. But again, with Deku and Bakugo, I didn't think they were going to get to this moment in time where Bakugo is going to sacrifice everything he believed in, all of his morals, all of his beliefs, all of everything he believes he can become, just ultimately for this to not pay off. And he goes down against the greatest villain in the making in Shigaraki. Because Shigaraki and All for One are just cut from a different cloth. Those are the two heavy hitters for the League of Villains. The only other person for the League of Villains where you're like, wow, this could be a real problem is Dabi. And I know we have our girl Toga, and she's using other people's quirks, and it's interesting and unique. As far as heavy hitting goes, unless her heart's really in it, there's really not too much to really be worried about from her. She's a perfect spy, but again, a spy in a world where you have a guy whose hand can literally touch the ground and wipe out all of human existence, and a dude who's just a giant flaming human being who can just light up an entire towns and town squares and melt everything around him. I don't think a spy is really going to be on the same level as those other characters. Is she interesting? Yes. Is she nuanced? Yes. Is she very well written? Yes. But is she going to be like one of those big three heavy hitters where you see them on a battlefield and you go, oh, no, this is not the individual I wanted to see today. I don't have time for this. I don't really think this is the moment where I'm supposed to be here. Like, you just really start to really rethink what has been going on in only so many terms. So being able to just go out and just have these things happen was absolutely wild. So I'm going to double check right now as the episode is now officially late. So I'm going to say it's about 3 minutes late. The release date for this one is it's supposed to be today. So there's no update like anything like that when we had the Olympics going on where it pushed it back. I'm just basically still hitting that refresh button on Crunchyroll. It might already be out on Hulu because Hulu, at least in the United States, was delivering on time. It's just with the commercials and all that. Look, you came here to listen and to talk with someone actually watching the show. If I'm sitting here watching commercials on Hulu, what kind of content am I providing for you in all actuality? Am I really providing, that level of service where you're like, you know what? This is a channel I want to subscribe to. This is someone I want to talk about anime with, or any of that good stuff. It wouldn't be giving, so to speak, exactly what we're all in all hoping for. So, going to continue to hit that refresh button. Hope we get the episode out anytime now so we can finally, you know, see the episode we've been waiting for. We have been waiting for Shoto and his family to finish their squabbles for a minute now. We have been waiting for All Might and All for One to go at it since we were introduced to them so long ago, and we got a brief glimpse, so to speak, into like the showdown and the rivalry in which they had for a bit. And we've been waiting for Deku and Shigaraki to go at it again since we saw them last time, because they both experienced significant upgrades in their characters over time. The episode itself just released. Episode 157 is now out, titled It's a Small World. So go ahead, everybody, pull up on Crunchyroll or My Hero. Academia on Hulu, and let's enjoy the episode together. It's a small world. As episode 19, we have only counting this episode a total of 3 episodes left of season 7. Let's talk about it. Let's enjoy it together. I'm very excited. Mm. This starts the episode showing off everything going on within the class. Everyone is watching or viewing the battle, and they are terrified and nervous as now they're finally seeing just all for one's overall level of power that he's been able to assert, as well as Deku and Shigaraki's just sheer strength together is wild. So we finally get 1A versus 1B in terms of power for all characters already out there. And luckily, we have more villains that Deku has infected with the power of friendship to really just come out and do the most for everybody and everything. And then we're seeing the other side of things where the humans left over who are falling all for one is just like struggling now that Skeptic has been arrested. So seeing him off the board is definitely an issue. Do they even have necessarily quirks to go out with everything here? All right. This is more of an espionage mission because they have managed to infiltrate the Class 1A final security point, and things have been going super interesting thus far. Mm. We saw a couple of heroes that have retired or stepped away because they were worried about the world in which they lived are now stepping back out because they're seeing the hope that 1A was able to bring to the world, which is crazy. Mm. Retired heroes back on the battlefield. I'm so happy to see it. The battlefield. I'm writing out notes, everybody, so I do apologize for some of the brief lapses here. Because then we see that Dobby and his heat is just going absolutely crazy right now. Because Dobby is definitely out there going all out to ensure that his father is no longer with us. And trust me, I've been rooting for Endeavor's downfall for a long minute now. But again, we still need to be rooting for our heroes, even though I am definitely a fan of Dobby and the way in which he goes about and handles his business. And Blue Flames is such a cool and unique look. I'm just absolutely a huge fan of everything that Dobby kind of is, albeit he takes things to the umpteenth level where it's like, there may have been a line about here you wanted to stop at. Because Dobby's burning so brightly that everyone within 5 kilometers is having a serious issue with him. I think he's purposely and willingly trying to go out and make things as terrible as he possibly can. Mm. And and now everyone's starting to become aware just how bad the attacks from Skeptic are going to be on all the individuals who have been evacuated, which is terrifying that All for One would be going all out to make this happen. A kilometer radius. Because if you put Shigaraki and All for One in the same area, everyone's like just doomed. That is the worst case scenario for everyone. And then we hear from All Might, who's attempting to be on the scene. My guy, you are not in the condition to do it. Shoto is down and out because went all out fighting Dobby, only for Dobby to be like, "Pff, great punch. That all you got though? Because yeah, the city is absolutely in heaps and a mess, and the Camino Ward is definitely gonna be isolated for a long, long time because no gonna be anyone's living there. And Shoto even desperately tried to call out to his brother to be like, "Hey, come on, please fight me, focus on me." But Dabi was like, "I don't care for you. You're fighting Dad's battle. I'm going to go take on Dad because that's where my issue has been this entire time." Shoto is injured, and there's no way he's going to be able to make things work unless he goes out and gets a huge assist to go handle what's going on there. Because Dabi's taking out the evacuation zone and Endeavor in one go. I think Endeavor is basically willing to accept this weight of the sins in which he's committed and putting him in a terrible place in time. And then they're basically patching All Might through to everyone to be like, "Hey, I'm gonna have to give you that hero talk and that hero charisma to be like, we can do this. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be the worst case scenario for everyone, but we're gonna try and make this work." So All Might is attempting to make himself useful, albeit physically. He's so far past his prime. It's like the worst case scenario for everybody and everything. I don't think All Might's gonna be able to put up even token resistance against. You can fight Spinner right now, just truth be told, and it's a really, really sad downfall. But again, he needed to pass on his legacy, and Deku could not have been a better choice overall. Mm. And now they're like, "All right, cool. We're gonna go ahead and run all over." Okay. I forgot how cool it looked when he finally extended his legs to go ahead and get everything going. Because now he's gonna have to carry Todoroki to the battlefront to be like, "This is our only hope of making things work." There's Stain, and Stain is wearing white. Stain with a whole new look out here. It is interesting to see Stain even be shown. Because like when he was shown, he brought out the perfect sins of society, and now that society has been turned basically topsy turvy, it's insane to think. Is Ida out here making the most of what's going on? There's Ida and Todoroki. Well, Shoto. And then the police captain reaches All Might's like, "Hey, yo, All Might, what the heck? You just sent those kids to their doom. What are you doing?" It's like, well, All Might decided he's going to handle this battle entirely on his own. And I think All for One is going to go ahead and make things as quick as he possibly can in this moment in time. But what is his plan going to be? How's he going to fight? 'Cause he's got something in the briefcase, but what the heck is it? 'Cause All Might knows this is a one-way ticket, and it is not a ticket to happiness. Okay, super interesting that he is okay. We're going all out with the animation for him, so hopefully something great happens because yo, things are going to be in a terrible spot overall. We're going back once again to the evacuation block. I think they're going to keep slow burning this because again, we have 2 episodes after this one to where we can get some level of culmination in the battle overall. We keep getting looks on Endeavor and his family because they're starting to see how much hate Toya really does have in his heart, and Endeavor, missing a whole hand here, well, at least the end of it, him having to go out and finish off his own son that he sent down this war path. That's not a easy job. That's not a good job. But again, the sins of the father are now being carried on past because Dobby is basically like, "Dad, look at me. I'm going to remind you of what you did. I'm gonna remind you of the person you were. I am everything that this was." And Dobby is very simplified in this moment in time because there's not a single thought in that boy's head. He's just here to fight and to end people. That's it. Dobby is finally taking on his father. Because he's basically unconscious of what Endeavor's realizing. He's just pushing himself past the points of any physical human limit just through sheer willpower, which is just wild. There's no way anyone can be able to push themselves to this level. Sins of the father, man. Sins of the father. Because he's also Endeavor has noticed that people have been able to fight to the very end of their existence. They've been able to push themselves to insane new heights, and that Dobby has hit an awakening, so to speak. He's pushed himself to these ungodly level of power and situation where there should be no way he's standing, but yet here he is. With everything going on, he's now able to see that there's other quirks manifesting within Dobby. What's going on right here and right now, which is wild to see. Mm. Endeavor is also realizing that everything that's happening here is his responsibility. That if he's ever going to save his family, he needs to make the ultimate atonement right here, right now. Because Toya has been watching him forever, and the hatred in his heart is what has caused him to go through such a massive evolution. So that is got to be painful to see from a father's perspective. But again, Endeavor, you are definitely up for worst father of the year in anime many times over. I don't think you'll win because anime's got some heinous fathers, including the father who turned his daughter and dog into one individual. But hey, Endeavor's gonna make the list. He's gonna be talked about because he needs to basically grab his son and be like, all right, we're gonna Iron Man this like back in the first Avengers and get as far into the sky as possible because he's just not going to have everyone finally pay for this. And as he thought he was going to go ahead and make it out, his wife makes a stunning appearance to go ahead and try and save everybody because that's her son. And she's like, I'm going to go ahead and save everybody because she still feels partly responsible, even though she was 100% a victim here. There's no one who's going to say she was like 100% on board with this idea ever. She was used, she was abused, she was manipulated, she was tortured, she was forced to be in this position. And now they're attempting to have the mother reach the heart of her son that she hasn't seen in, well over a decade. And she's basically burning to death as she's fighting to bring her family back. And Dobby's having a semi moment of clarity as literally he's seeing the family members he doesn't bear the same grudge against. And now the entire family has marched onto the battlefield to go ahead and try and stop Dobby as they're calling Dobby an idiot, even though he's, you know, doing what exactly needs to be done for everyone. And Endeavor is straight up begging that his son ends him and him alone. And we're finally seeing that Dobby's eyes have reawoken to what's going on and that the life he could have had should he have gone down the path of forgiveness versus the path of vengeance. But my boy is so far gone. There's absolutely no way he's going to accept Endeavor's offer and just be like going against everybody. The family is going to be in a very, very bad state overall. because everyone's like, we need to get the heck out of Dodge here because Dobby is going to make sure everything just goes right here, right now. It is still wild that the family is trying to unite and make things work. I still don't understand why the news is like out there trying to get the thing. There's the dude that looks like a fairy tale character. He's dressed up as an Endeavor fanboy. All right, so we're bringing that story home. But Shoto is about to make the great scene and appearance between him and Ida with what looks like an ice train that has made some insane speed, transonic speed, fighting basically as fast as a fighter aircraft. Okay, so Ida's he's growing up a little bit from the dork that has absolutely annoyed me for 7 seasons to now finally make something like this happen is fantastic. Basically, they need to grab Dobby and Endeavor and yeet them off into the distance where the civilians won't be impacted by what's going on here, or better yet, just do a full takedown of Dobby to the point he's so unconscious that he can't keep doing this. Because basically, he's going to do a flash fire fist at this speed. Okay, we're cooking. Season 7 is straight up cooking. He needs to roll that and make it work. Ida's legs gave out. He's completely done. And he ran out of his armor, which is crazy. Like, can you imagine like an Olympian just like running so far that their shoes just literally soles get completely out? And now we're getting a flashback of Shoto writing his mom about everything that he's learned and how he's been able to grow and adapt as a human being and individual outside of Endeavor's dark shadow that he cast over him for what his entire life, other than like the last 2 or 3 years. So we're gonna see him manifest the heart his mom always gave in him and instilled in him to be able to overcome all this darkness. Shoto is the culmination of what forgiveness looks like, as where Dobby is the epitome of the exact same thing but in vengeance. They are literally the perfect duality of forgiveness and hatred and revenge. So we're gonna see how this whole family is just kind of being torn apart by one decision. All he had to be was a good dad, Never. None of this would have happened. Instead, we would have had a whole family of fire and ice users that could have helped change the world. Instead, you decided to be a POS, and everything went about this regard. So it's a beautiful story. Things are touching a lot of people's hearts right now, and he used a giant ice glacier to try and wrap themselves. Okay, okay, where did everybody go? We just turned them to a giant ice crystal, and everyone vanished. Did this family just make the ultimate sacrifice to save millions? Because that's wild. Like I wanted Endeavor alone to be the only one paying for this. So to have this family have to all go down together. Oh, we're seeing the sound of the family. And it looks like Shoto actually did save the day. He stopped the blast, and he's about to give out because he's exhausted. Oh, Toya. Yeah, Dobby is cooked. He's dying. Dobby's done. Yeah, he's no longer past the point of consciousness, and he's literally begging everyone to just no longer be of this world, just move on to the next life. But Dobby is freezing from the inside out, and he's going to be dying. And now Endeavor is out here finally apologizing to his son, God knows how much longer later, because like this is years later. But Dobby is now crying ice because he's like, I hate you. I hate my family. I hate everybody that's going on here. But Endeavor is like, at least you're talking to me. At least you're telling me how you feel. Very, very well told story overall. The animation is hitting this episode. And now Endeavor is finally able to say sorry, but the entire family is now unconscious, and Dobby's not with us in my mind. So let me go ahead and take a look at what's going on for the next episode. The army of Twice will be very much in the forefront. The Shigaraki and Deku was just a straight up tease. That got us bad with that one. But again, we have 2 episodes left. So we're gonna see Uravity next week go against. Yeah, Uravity is gonna be going up against Toga next week. That is going to be the showdown of showdowns. Overall, absolutely fantastic episode. They really explored the hearts and the minds of the individuals at play here. They did a fantastic job covering what's been going on with, you know, um, Toto and with Ida. Had a nice come up moment. Good for him. Not a huge fan of the character, but he is a well told character. He's the tried and true nerd, but at the same time, he's showing exceptional heart and willpower, getting things done the way he knew how to do so. And ultimately, this family with everyone was able to pull together in a fantastic way. Endeavor finally got to apologize to Dobby, albeit, you know, Toya is so far gone that ultimately it didn't matter much. And Shoto was finally the person who was able to heal his father's broken, disjointed, and cursed heart to an umpteenth degree because, well, it's been a long time coming. It was a fantastic episode. It's been a pleasure to cover it with each and every one of you here at Geek Variants. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to hit that lovely red subscribe button. I'm going to get into the breakdown of this episode for our review before I forget all the great stuff that have happened this episode. I've been Brett for Geek Variants. I'll see you Sunday night for episode 2 of The Penguin. Have a great night, folks.